So, update 43 for the Elder Scrolls Online is right around the corner, and ZOS had teased a major housing feature, or a new housing feature at least. But I was very excited to see what this new housing feature was going to be. Would it be more slots for our homes? Would it be a furnishing bag? Guild halls? A way to display armor and weapons? Maybe even a way to place your alts at home so you could access their inventory? Nope, it was house tours, and based on the comments of the Livestream chat, it was not what people were expecting, and it's not something that I was expecting either. Now, before we switch gears in this video, I do want to say that I do think that the Elder Scrolls Online will benefit from this new feature. I think house tours is a cool thing to have in the game. I loved having that option in other MMOs like the Old Republic or even Amazon's New World. I really like having an easy way to visit homes that other players have designed and, maybe even find new homes to explore or get inspired. It's certainly going to make it easier for me to share my homes in game. And I love any time that, something that PC players have had for years via add-ons is now going to be available to console players as well. So let me just preface this entire video by saying I think it's a cool feature. I'm glad it's coming. I just don't think it was the right feature right now, and I don't think that's how it should have been presented. Now, for anyone out there who did catch the live stream, if you were watching that chat, you know what the people wanted. They wanted more slots for their houses. They wanted a furnishing bag in the style of the craft bag, and there were dozens of other great ideas shared there that have been shared repeatedly on the official forums and throughout the community, Reddit, in-game. I don't think anybody had their money on home tours. So let's take a quick look at what home tours actually are, because it's not a terrible feature to have in the game. It's actually in the activity finder, which I think is totally unexpected. I thought if they were going to do something like this, it'd probably work like the Old Republic or, again, Amazon's New World. In either one, I think you could go up to the entrance to the house and then see a listing of all the homes that were available to tour. That being said, I do really like that there is a recommended tab. I think that's pretty cool. And the promise from the live stream is that this isn't just going to be, the top rated homes or the top liked homes, but that you're going to get a mix here of new homes that have been recently added, as well as, the best so far. So I think that is cool. Again, you don't have to rely on an add-on to do this. For a while now, we've had the ability to copy and paste or create jump scripts in game, which are certainly nice, and they've certainly made it easier to visit other player homes. But at the same time, you have to know exactly which home you're going to and which player's home, and it just hasn't been easy. And that's something that I've seen in comments here on YouTube as well, people who want an easier way to visit my home. So rest assured, every single house that I've furnished is going to be available in this day one. But yeah, let's take a look at this. So right now, I don't have any listings here. But if I go down to my listings, I am currently in my ample domicile, which I have decorated as Fargrave. There's a video on this. I'll have it linked on screen. In update 43, you guys will be able to visit in-game relatively easily. So you can set the default visitor access. You can add several tags. So I don't think there's Fargrave in here. Maybe, did I see Other World? Well, Other Worlds. There we go. We'll do Other Worlds. And then I would normally probably rename it. Let's just do Fargrave Townhouse. Something to give away what is going on here, and submit the home. And now it's listed on house tours, so anybody should be able to browse homes. You can search by user ID, so that's Calamon with a 0. And there you go. Now anybody on the PTS and soon on the live servers would be able to visit this home just by going here to home tours. So again, I think this is a really cool feature. I think it's nice to have. I think it probably should have been paired with something else, or it should have been downplayed in some way. Like, I just don't think that this is the sort of flagship feature that warrants the kind of fanfare that it got. And I think setting those expectations is probably where ZeniMax went wrong. But again, I'm happy it's here. I'm excited to use it. But I want to talk more about some of those other things that I think people were expecting. Let's go ahead and jump out of here and talk a little bit about furnishing slots. I mean, if you were watching that live stream, the chat was just completely full of people demanding more slots. And you can see here, this is a medium house. I've got 386 out of 400. This one was actually pretty satisfying. Like, I feel like the furnishing here was pretty satisfying. But on those larger homes, the manor homes that only give you 700 furnishing slots, it's really hard to decorate those satisfyingly. So I actually wanted to jump to my Hall of the Lunar Champion real quick. So we can see 689 out of 700, 10 out of 10 on special, 110 out of 110 on collectible, and 10 out of 10 on special collectibles. So this house was fully furnished. I did borrow a couple furnishings for a new design elsewhere. You know, this front room, you can see it's pretty satisfying here. Like I felt pretty good about what I was able to accomplish here and all the pieces I was able to get. That said, I did have to take several things out of this custom fish tank. Like I have a few more niches that I would have loved to have sort of swimming around in there. There were a couple more bubble effects that I had at one point, but in order to furnish some of the other parts of the house, I had to sacrifice those. Now, what a lot of people do in the Hall of the Lunar Champion is they just shut down these portals. There's actually 3 other parts of this house, and if you shut those down, then you can have a very satisfying front hall with 700 furnishings. But therein lies the problem, right? Like, nobody wants to have to chop off parts of their house. And in order for me to do anything out here in Halls of the Colossus or the other 2 wings of the Hall of the Lunar Champion, have to sacrifice something in that main hall to get it done. And so out here I want to create a little village square. I think, you know, at a glance it doesn't look too bad, but if you go in any of these homes or buildings, like, this is sparse, you know what I mean? Like, I limited myself to like 8 to 10 furnishings in each of these, and it's just not satisfying at all. I mean, look at this, it's just undone, and there's nothing I could do about it, you know what I mean? Like, if I wanted to do this part of this house in a more satisfying manner, cram in more furnishings, fill it out, actually decorate it, then, you know, that has to come from somewhere else. And this is primarily a problem in the manor-sized homes, but it is not a problem in the smaller homes. My first home is actually a fairly good example. Let's go ahead and check out Cyrodiilic Jungle House. All right, so this is a small home. I did want to show this one because this is one where I hit the furnishing limit as well. So 200 out of 200, 10 out of 10 on the collectibles, 4 out of 4 on special collectibles. And you can see here that this is pretty full. But at the same time, I had to make sacrifices here too. Like, I would have rather put a couple more vines on the wall, maybe a couple more trees, put a couple things just outside this wall to make it feel a little bit more enclosed. The inside is a little sparse. It's not done, you know what I mean? Like, it looks pretty good, maybe to an outsider, but to me, I see all the spots that I had to make sacrifices and leave furnishings out. And so I wanted to come here to use this as an example because ZeniMax has actually addressed this complaint in the past. So there was a post on the official forums. I'll have it linked down in the description. And I just want to quote them right here. So while we have touched on this before, we just wanted to reiterate that the uppermost furnishing limits are in place to avoid serious performance issues. And I'm willing to take them at their word there. So for those manor homes, you know, with the 700 standard furnishing limit and the 110 on the collectibles, like, I've felt it even on PC. Sometimes when I load into my Hall of the Lunar Champion, it takes a second for everything to load. So I fully believe that on, you know, last gen consoles, that is a problem. And there's no getting around that unless they figure out a way to better optimize it or whatever it is, ditch support for those consoles. Obviously, those things don't make a lot of sense, but there are still dozens of homes in the game that are not manor sized, that are not at those uppermost furnishing limits, that could receive a bump. You know what I mean? Like, small homes, give me a way to get 50 more furnishing slots for the Cyrodiilic Jungle House. Maybe if I complete the zone, like 100% 100% Malabaltor, it gives me 50 bonus furnishing slots in any house in Malabaltor that's not already, you know, maxed out at 700, right? Like, 50 more slots here would go a long way. And if we're talking about in-rooms or apartments, like, in-rooms are capped at 30 right now, and they feel so sparse with just 30 furnishings. Double that to 60. Like, that doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't reduce the value of a larger home in any way, but it would make them so much more satisfying for housing enthusiasts to furnish and decorate. And tying it into the achievement system would be spectacular, right? Like, it would give you a reason to go 100% a zone or complete a zone story if it gave you a few extra furnishing slots for houses in that zone. They could even go the extra mile and add new achievements, right? Like, give me something specific I need to do in Necrom or High Isle or whatever that gives me those 30 additional furnishing slots in my in-room. And then I could actually, finish furnishing my in-rooms. So I'm taking them at their word that they can't go beyond 700 standard furnishings in a home, but that is not a reason not to give us more slots on the smaller homes and give us more small homes, like more small homes, more medium homes, more large homes, or just, shrink down the size, the square footage a little bit, so I don't have to waste furnishings blocking off wings of a house. High hollow hold is like probably the biggest culprit here. Like, there's no way you can furnish that thing with 700 furnishings. And if you just want to like cut off chunks of it, you have to put up a bunch of walls and waste a bunch of furnishing slots on that, and it's just a bad experience. So if we do have this hard limit, I understand. I hope they're working on it, but give us a way to increase the furnishing slot limits on smaller homes, please. Okay, so the second most common request that I saw in the live stream chat was a request for a furnishing bag in the style of the crafting bag. And that's another thing that I have wanted to see for years. And I want to say ZeniMax addressed it somewhere. I couldn't find the interview or the forum post where it was addressed. But the problem that we face in the Elder Scrolls Online is not dissimilar to other games. I know this is something that has come up in Minecraft repeatedly. The palette has expanded to the point that the limited storage space limits our ability to actually be creative and access all of the different parts of that palette that we want. So I use almost all of my housing storage for furnishings. So you can see here, I've got A to D in this chest, and then I've got E to L, and then I've got M through SO and SP through Z, and I've got more furnishings down here, and I've got furnishings in my bank, and I've got furnishings stuck in my bag because I don't have any more space for them. And you might be out there saying, why are you holding on to all these furnishings? Just sell them or junk them or put them on the Guild Trader or whatever. But when I'm working on a new house design, I want to have access to as many pieces as possible, right? There are some standard pieces that I use for building, like these walls are a great example. I would love to just have a stack of these, what are these, the high aisle walls in my inventory, along with, every rock and every tree and crates from elsewhere. And just, I want to keep all of that stocked so that when I go into the furnishing menu, it's all right here, right? Like, I don't want to have to realize that I don't have the right light and then have to go buy it and then place it. I want to have access to all of it. I'm okay if there's an investment cost there, and honestly that would be another perk of giving us some sort of furnishing shed or storage bag or whatever it is, even if it's limited in some way. Like, give me a 300 slot bag and I can empty out all of these chests and use them for storage of other things. Like, there are things that I would prefer to store, but I have to store furnishings if I want to decorate houses. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand, and there's no solution available right now. In the best case scenario, you've got 210 slots on your character, 480 in the bank, and another 360 in housing storage, and that might sound like plenty, but realistically you can't use all of them for furnishings. And there's over 6,500 different furnishings in the Elder Scrolls Online right now. Give me a way to store hundreds, if not thousands, of stacks of furnishings that don't take up my other storage slots. I feel like it would immediately increase the potential for house designs, and it would just be a huge quality of life feature. And I don't really see a good reason not to do it, right? Because it'll act as sort of a bit of a gold sink. It'll free up some storage, but there's no advantage necessarily to having a few additional bank slots, you know what I mean? Like, and it would be a huge game changer, and I think would have paired really nicely with the house tours, right? Give me a way that enables me to create a more satisfying final design for my home, and then give me the option to show it off. All right, so I didn't see this come up in the chat, but this is actually what I thought the housing feature was going to be. So just before the live stream and the announcement, I think the Sea Bloom Villa house got discovered on Aridon, and I was like, that looks like a medium house, and it's in one of the base game zones. That doesn't really feel like a premium Crown Store home. Maybe the new housing feature is just sort of all of these unfinished homes or new homes that like hadn't been added to the game. Maybe they're adding like 10 new small houses to the game or 10 new medium houses to the game. And now in hindsight, it feels a little naive, but I do think that there's a lot of housing enthusiasts out there that would have been more excited about that than home tours. I think there's been sort of a serious shortage of the smaller homes in the game, right? The Morrowind chapter was actually the last time that we got a new gold purchasable smaller medium home, I believe. I might be forgetting one. Maybe the Witch's Hut, which is available seasonally. But like with the Morrowind chapter, we got the Amaya Lake Lodge. We got Maya Lake Lodge, the Aldvalathi Harbor House. Those are both gold purchasable homes. They've moved away from that. I feel like Morrowind should have set the precedent. It should have said that should have said, okay, every chapter we're getting an in-room, we're getting a small home, we're getting a medium home, we're getting a large home, all gold purchasable after you complete certain achievements. And they could deviate from that a little bit, but instead what we've gotten is one in-room, one large home, and then a couple of premium manor homes. And I just feel like that's not a very interesting mix to give, and there are so many cool zones that I would love to have a decent home in. I mean, the West Weald for sure. Like, I do like Maryvine Estate. It is a really cool house, but I would love to have something larger than an in-room in Skingrad. Like, that would be, if you watched my last video, that's exactly what my ideal house would be. Fargrave is another one that I'm super disappointed that we didn't get very many options. Like, I'm not going to spend $40 on Asa Ascentium or whatever it's called. And there's not even an in-room. Like, there's literally no options for most players here in Fargrave, unless you're willing to drop however much money it costs when that house is available 1 week every 2 years or whatever it is. Like, and there's so many zones and cities like that where it would be really cool to have a house, and it just doesn't exist. So that's, again, what I thought the new Update 43 housing feature was going to be. Here's my plea. Like, give us more small and medium homes that are purchasable for gold after we complete certain achievements. And then, back to my first point, give me a way to add or increase the furnishing slots so that I can actually decorate them or complete decorating them and not have to make horrible sacrifices. We don't need any more 700 slot, $40 Crown Store homes. We just don't. Like, there's so many of them, and they just do nothing for me. So those are probably the big three. I do want to talk about a couple other things before we wrap up. One being guild halls. And I didn't see anybody talk about this in the chat, but this is something that I've always thought was kind of weird. Like, if you go into any guild, like, you're gonna see here's the guild hall. You know what I mean? Like, let's go over to TTS. I know they have one. Yep, there it is. Guild hall, crafting hall. There's no way to officially designate a house as the guild hall other than putting this jump link in the background information or the updates or message of the day or whatever it is. There's also nothing special you can do in a guild hall, right? There's no way to add access to the guild banker, add access to the guild trader. There's no way to display the guild heraldry. And these are all things that I think would be really cool to have, really cool options to have. Like, I would have probably been more excited if they had announced that guild halls were now a thing, and these were all the things that you could do with them. You can, you could officially designate them. You could access the guild bank. Maybe there was a way to put, I think the Old Republic did this, I believe, on your capital ship. You had an easy way to get to the, like, large group content. So in our case, trials, right? Like, give me the ability to add a portal to specific trials so we can all gather at the guild house, we can hit the guild bank, we can repair, we can trade, we can do whatever we need to do, and then we hit the portal to the trial. Like, great. I mean, make guilds more important, make guilds more useful, and tie it into housing in a really nice, satisfying way. Another one that I've wanted for a long time, but I didn't see it in the chat, but I've had this conversation with a few people in game, is alts as house guests. I know there's a lot of people out there who find it really annoying and frustrating that, like, you can't access your alts inventory. And also you spend a lot of time creating these alts and, coming up with a cool outfit for them, leveling them up, whatever. And, like, there's no way to bring them into the world together. And I think that would be a really cool thing to do. I would love to, as cool as some of the house guests are, I love AROX, but, like, I'd love to have my alts wandering around or all sitting at, the table together or whatever it is, and having the additional option of being able to interact with them and maybe access their inventory or give them some items or pass some things around without having to go through the bank, I think would be a huge quality of life win, and something that was very unique to ESO housing and really increase the value of ESO housing. And then finally, one of the last things is just the ability to display weapons and armor. And I think I posted about this on Reddit a while back, but like, so many other games have this. Minecraft has armor stands and item frames. Dark Age of Camelot, you could throw any of your gear up on the wall, and it's kind of surprising to me that we don't have that. Like, there, I think, are 3 swords now that you can use as furnishings, right? 2 of them are here on this table. What a great way to incentivize finishing the motif, right? Like, if you finish the Shardborn motif or whatever, you get the ability to display an armor stand that has some of the armor pieces on it. Or in the case of Crown Store weapons or Crown Crate weapons, give me a furnishing item or allow me to use them as furnishings. Like, that would dramatically increase their value to me, because I would love to adorn my walls with some of the gear that I've collected, or do a little haul of armor. Ideally, it's the individual pieces. But, I would happily accept just, a sort of generic armor stand that just has, the gear on it in one form, right? Like, give me a little dress form like this, but that's wearing whatever motif it is that I've finished unlocking. I think that would be a nice compromise, and again, just a nice quality of life and a good incentive to collect the motifs, and, something that I think a lot of players would like to have. Like, I think that'd be really cool, and it's almost kind of weird that it's not here, like, there's so many furnishings, so many decorations that we can get, but like, we can't show off the armor and the gear that we've collected. Kind of strange. So anyway, those are my big 6 when it comes to ESO housing. I think any conversation around new housing features in ESO needs to start and end with some way to increase housing furnishing slots, furnishing limits. I think we absolutely need some sort of furnishing storage solution. It is not acceptable in my eyes to just have a junk house that you fill with all your extra pieces, because those are not accessible when you need them. You have to go grab them and bring them back or whatever. There should be some sort of solution there. We absolutely need more small and medium homes. We need more homes that are purchasable for gold. Why haven't we seen a new apartment in, how long has it been? 6 years, 7 years since housing was added to the game? Let's see more variety. I don't think anybody needs any more 700 slot premium homes. And then guild halls, I think just a huge miss to not do something that makes guilds more valuable and ties them into housing in a meaningful way, and gives us a way to show that guild pride or access the guild bank, or just do something with guilds in housing other than craft. I do want to sum this up on a relatively positive note. I do think house tours is a cool feature. I'm glad it's getting added. I just don't think it was necessarily what should have been the first thing to come along. I would love to see a more satisfying response from ZeniMax on some of these oft-requested housing features that we're not getting in Update 43, right? So, I will see you all again soon. I do hope that you'll be enjoying the house tours feature when Update 43 goes live. I know I will, and I would love to hear your comments down below. What housing feature would you be most excited for? And were there any that weren't on my list that are on your list? I do want to thank you all for checking out this video, and an extra thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to join them, you can find the link in the description down below and get your name in the credits at the end of the video. I'll be back again real soon with another ESO video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.